like you said, the show kind of fell off from there, but we did have a very good match, I thought, between Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio. I do think they should have made a bigger deal about this because it was the first ever one-on-one encounter between these two on the main roster. Just in general, I think, actually. It was good. Balor won clean. I can't say I care too much about the whole Judgment Day trying to recruit Dominic thing. I know Rhea's out right now. She was seen wearing a heart monitor last week. Hopefully she's okay and we'll be back soon. But without her and the whole Edge, Finn Balor replacement thing, you texted me on Monday or Tuesday, it really feels like Judgment Day has fallen off and is far from as important as they were even 2 months ago.
Oh my God, the whole Judgment Day thing. Once they got rid of Edge, I think it was one of those things we both, me and you specifically, I think a lot of people as well, like, why would they do that?
Mm-hmm.
But like most things in wrestling, you're like, oh, why would they do that? You know, it's about the follow-up. We always say that, like, especially after WrestleMania, it's like, oh, someone won, but you got to see what's going on next. So, like, okay, you know, Edge is out. We'll see what happens next. Then they're, like, not on the show the next week. Then Rhea gets hurt. Then they're not really on the show again. Then they have these little backstage segments with Mysterios. Doesn't really go anywhere. I thought this was a good match, but the follow-up has been terrible. The whole recruiting Dominic, realistically, should be recruited back down to NXT 2.0. Love him, mean it. He just isn't ready. You know, I understand he wants to be with his dad, but he's just not ready for national TV. He's just not. And him being in Judgment Day, who really could give two shits.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I don't think he's going to join. We've mentioned it before. You mentioned it right there. He should be back in NXT. He's just not where he should be. And I saw a lot of other people mention this on Twitter. And, you know, normally I don't agree with these sort of takes, but they're right. I mean, he's, for a kid that's been on the main roster now for almost 2 years, he was never going to improve. I mean, I guess he could. I mean, there have been people that come from other walks of life, other sports, or people that just don't have much wrestling experience and get very good very quickly, and they're able to adapt to the main roster style without spending too much time in NXT. I mean, look at Braun Strowman, for example. I mean, not that Dominic, you know, him and Dominic are two very different people, but Braun had very little experience in the ring prior to being called up in 2015. Not that he was having great matches off the bat. A majority of them weren't very good. But by 2017, the guy was very good. He was very over, and he was, again, not the perfect pro wrestler, but he was very polished and much more far along in his development than Dominic is right now. So, and Dominic's had far more matches in the main roster than Braun did at that point. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're trying to make it work with the whole Rey and Dominic tag team thing. That kind of ran its course. I don't want to see Dominic turn on Rey. You know, I know that was the idea at one point. I just think Dominic as a heel would flop miserably. So I don't really know where they go with this. And, you know, I know people's initial issue with the Judgment Day was that Edge was boring in that role. I mean, that's completely subjective, and I think that's fine if people think that. But my biggest issue is that the whole Finn Balor thing was so fucking random. And what did we say a month ago, dude? Finn Balor, in their eyes, is not a priority. They do not care about Finn Balor. And I don't think whether he's a face or a heel or a tweener, I just don't think they're going to ever really push. I mean, I'm glad he won here. That was a needed win. But I don't think they're ever really going to push him at a meaningful level again. I feel like they got it out of the way with the Universal Championship win, 6 years ago, and they haven't bothered to push him since.
Yeah, I mean, I think he and Owens, I feel like, are in the same territory. I just feel like they're never going to get pushed beyond a certain level. And people thought, oh, he's going to be a part of this group. He's going to be pushed like Edge was. Like, no, he's not. He's just not. And these people think Edge has been boring in the group. What do you think Finn's been? I feel like he's been just like a vanilla midget. No one cares. I mean, I like Finn and I like Owens. I think Owens has done better for himself, but I just feel like they're both kind of like that mid-tier for life in WWE right now. And I like Finn, but the whole Judgment Day stuff has just not been my stuff. I'm over it at this point.
Would you say, I texted this the other day, I don't think they're buried yet. They're not, the people use that term very loosely and whatever. I don't think you would say the same, but as far as they're not buried. But do you think they can improve? Do you think they can turn this thing around? I think they can if Rhea comes back soon, and they don't even need Rhea. I think she's a huge help. Edge is, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. The vignettes are clearly for Edge, obviously. The vignettes are for Edge that have been airing on Raw since Money in the Bank. We found that out on Monday. They didn't say Edge, but it was pretty obvious it was Edge. Why you would need vignettes for some guy coming back after a month, I don't know. They're cool vignettes, but I mean, I wish they would put that same amount of effort in other people on the roster and making them feel cool and special. But can you redeem the Judgment Day group, or do you think it's damaged goods at this point, as we like to say?
Honestly, for me, it's damaged goods at this point. I just don't like. I think if it was Edge, I feel like I would be more. I think they would be doing better stuff. But since Finn's at the helm, I just don't think they're going to put as much into it. And I just don't think that meshes well. I just don't see it getting above a certain level. I mean, I feel like Edge is going to come back, beat him, and then we'll move on. They'll just disband, and we won't see him again.
We'll see him on main event.
Yeah, so basically at that point, I might as well just disband them.
Exactly.